Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Matt Tebow with Stacked, and right now I'm joined by Team Liquid's top laner Alphari coming off a really dominant win against 100 Thieves to get themselves in a pretty good position in the upper bracket of the playoffs coming up. How are you doing, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, enjoying the 3-year weekend.
Yeah, especially after Jensen tweets it out a second time and you hope to God it doesn't fall flat like it did the first go around. Talk to me
Yeah,
about the
nah.
game as well. Sorry to cut you off. um, Between you and Santorin just diving someday on cooldown and getting yourself all set up, you had a really huge impact on your play and just another accolade to add to your MVP like season. How did the game go from your perspective?
Uh, it went kind of as expected from draft. Um, I think we lost a little bit too much bot lane than we should have, but you know, it was still like totally fine. That Olaf was also over like committing, like spending too many resources bot, so he wasn't farming very well. And yeah, we had like a very good draft to attack, the Gnar blind versus Udyr with counterpick is, it's playable, but they didn't play very well. And I was very confident that we could snowball on him. And yeah, we did that. And then the game was pretty easy, So it went kind of as expected. It was pretty fun, pretty relaxed. It's just like a Gangplank Udyr game. We just crushed them topside, and that's what happened.
Yeah. To that point, I feel like the Gnar conversation's like this really revolving door thing, right? Like when lock-in first started, a lot of people were blinding Gnar and everybody was really upset about it. Like, why are this everyone blinding Gnar? Gnar is getting absolutely annihilated. And then we get into the normal season, everybody's like, okay, Gnar's fine, and now we're back to it, and we've had a few games this weekend of Gnar just getting absolutely stomped. What do you think of the Gnar pick in a situation like that? Is that something you personally would want to go for?
I think it definitely depends on, first of all, like the team style, because you can also just choose to pick a tank, right? Like Gragas or Sion, whatever. These champs are very blindable too. Gangplank even, Camille, Renekton. There's a lot of different options in the current meta. Um, so Gnar is definitely one of them. I think it's a very strong champion, don't get me wrong. Especially as a counter to like Renekton, which is the most common matchup you'll see it picked into, right? I think if you want to blind it, you have to like really think about how you want to set it up, because there are like clear picks you can play against it, right? Like you've seen people pick like Jace, Aurelia, Camille. Gangplank can work obviously as well, although this is like a bit more 50-50. So there are picks that teams know about, and that when they see the knob blind, you should expect that teams have answers, right? So it's just like whether you feel confident about being able to actually like scale into that lane, because Gnar scales super good 1v1, and even team fighting, it can turn the games around, right? So as long as you're confident that you can play against the enemy team's answers, then Gnar is totally fine to blind. You just have to really like think about the enemy team, and does it work against this team?
Do you think, more to your earlier point as well, do you think 100 Thieves gave someday the tools he needed to set up Gnar super well into the matchup that Team Liquid brought today?
They used one ban on top lane. I can't remember if they banned anything first phase. I think we banned Renekton and they banned Camille. Normally, I would say like 1 to 2 bans are good for setting up Gnar blind. Again, it just depends on the top laner, right? Like some top laners play Jace, some top laners play Aurelia, some top laners play Camille. It's not entirely usual to like have like a top laner who plays like all of these champions to like a super high level, because they're actually all individually very like mechanically like difficult, and you have to actually like be very good to make these champions work. Like if you play Aurelia against Gnar, you need to actually be good on Aurelia to play the champion. Same for Camille, same for Jace, obviously. So I'd say 1 to 2 bans is pretty normal to set up a blind on blue side for top. They just didn't play too good. I think we are like much better at playing top side than them. We have better laner. I think I have really good synergy with Santorin. And if I were them, I would just pick the tank and try to make top like as least volatile as possible, and then just play to the lanes. This is what I would have done if I was 100 Thieves coach. There we go, got it out.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to the best of us. But yeah, I mean, it looks like after the second dive, it's like, well, Nar's not going to be able to play the game until he gets to a team fight now.
Yeah.
And even at this point, I do want to talk about Team Liquid's early game philosophy. You guys are a really patient team. You guys look like you like to play through your lanes. You don't like to skirmish too much in the jungle unless you absolutely have to. I mean, barring fights over objectives, of course. And when I was talking to Santorin yesterday, and he also mentioned this in his post-game interview, that the real boogeyman for you guys might be TSM. You're 0-2 in TSM so far this season, and they play a similar type of early game style to you, which is a very passive early game, and, I mean, different from yesterday. They don't seem to contest dragons too much. Going into that, you guys both have this same kind of early game style. What made TSM so difficult for you guys this season, and how are you preparing for them this postseason?
So, I mean, I think it's very likely we're going to play a best of 5 against TSM next week. Personally, I have very good ideas about why we lost against them. I think a lot of it was because we were drafting not to our strengths. And I think we are going to have good strategies prepared. And we're going to have like a very good idea as to how to abuse their players when we play them. So I do think that they're probably one of the best teams, if not the best team, matching up against us, because they have like a very strong bot lane. Actually, there's like strong players all around, right? I think Huni is surprisingly like one of the best tops, if not the most surprisingly like best top laner that I've played against so far in the night. But again, I'm pretty sure when we play our style, and when we play champions and we have a good strategy prepared for them, I'm feeling very confident. I think they're going to get crushed early game. And then we're just going to, carry it home. I don't think they can match up against us well enough individually to, stop us from getting ahead if we actually want to play that way.
Now I want to talk about you, particularly your performance. Going back to, oh man, this interview was right after you guys won lock-in, and I asked you a question about how comfortable you felt when Team Liquid's offense was channeled through you. And I think that's a pretty prescient question, especially then, because a lot of people are considering you for MVP, right next to people like Blabber, maybe Afromoo as well. Like, I asked you, how does it feel to have the offense channeled through you? Now, how does it feel to be put in that MVP conversation in your first season in the LCS coming over from EU?
I mean, it feels good. If I get MVP, it would be nice. But ultimately, obviously the goal is to win the whole split. If someone else gets MVP, so what? My teammates are also playing really well. Like I said, Santorin, he's super fucking good at playing 2v2s top. And, he's just very good, to be honest. And the same can be applied to like all my teammates, right? So I think you can make arguments for all of them to get MVP too. And obviously there are like a lot of other talented players in the league as well. So, getting MVP, not getting MVP, it's not really going to matter too much. What matters is winning next week and winning the week after and getting the trophy. But yeah, it's obviously nice to get praised for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we go into champion pools, when I talked to Santorin yesterday as well, he said that you guys can't be playing the same champions you've picked throughout the season because then teams are going to have a really good idea of what to play against you. And I think a lot of people would say that your champion pool is pretty deep. So are we going to see some really unconventional picks coming out of you in the playoffs?
Possibly. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think the top meta is like still kind of stable. Hasn't really changed too much this whole split, I feel like. Aside from Camille like slightly falling off because of, nerfs to his W and, constant nerfs to all his items. Basically, the champ is like much weaker now. Still solid, but otherwise I think top meta has been pretty similar. But for sure, we're gonna have some strategies prepared, some spicy picks. I'm looking forward to it, and I think this will maybe just be like a backup, but we'll see. We'll see how playoffs develops. Because like I said, I think we have a very strong style, and I'm not really sure if any team can actually handle us when we play to it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe some spicy stuff like sending Jensen top with Nico top to make your melee top laner have a terrible time.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe.
What was that matchup like? Because I absolutely despise that champion just as a concept in everything it does. And Santorin described you as like being almost robotic and knowing exactly what to do in each top lane matchup. So what's it like as a pro player? You get to lane, you think you're playing against like a Renekton or something, and then it's like, oh god, that's Nico. What's that like for you, and how do you approach that sudden change in matchup, particularly if you've itemized to deal with a certain champion?
Yeah. So I know how the matchup goes very well, right? So this in itself is not a problem for me. Like I know I'm supposed to get pushed in, and I know he's supposed to poke me and get a small CS lead. And I know that when I get my first MR item, like around level 6, 7, I'm going to start scaling him pretty hard 1v1. So the only like difficulty is obviously having no MR and no Dawn Shield versus an oppressive early game AP laner that has Scorch and Comet. So this was like more difficult than normal, but this is also the whole purpose of actually changing players in game, is to kind of surprise the opponent and get like a little advantages like this. So this has happened in scrims many times over the past 2-3 years, and you just kind of have to be ready for anything, right? It is what it is. It's totally fine, if because of this they are able to like snowball top and like make dive plays happen on me because they had like a good strategy prepared and they call us off guard. Well then, well played to them. I'm not going to misplay the lane because I got surprised, I think. So it's just a matter of like maybe the strategy works and then it's like a 1-game strategy. Just the next game, we're going to bear it in mind, right? But yeah, not anything like too pressuring. I wasn't stressing or anything. I saw it and I was like, okay. I mean, I guess early game's going to be a little bit hard, but after like level 6 or 7, then, I'm pretty happy. They have to make an early game dive play, and if they don't do this, then, Nico kind of sucks.
Ain't that the truth? And I think Team Liquid's going to really value your versatility as they get into playoffs. Once again, this is Team Liquid top laner Alphari, and I'm Matt Tebow with Stacked. You can find us online at stacked.gg and follow us on our socials at stackedlol. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that sub button. It really helps us out a lot. Alphari, thanks for the time to talk today, man, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thanks.